Alright, hey, HadesOmeg's here, and Happy New Year, alright? So, the other day I found out that I got laid off from UPS. Okay? Yeah, I knew it was coming, alright? But yeah, so I'm gonna kind of go, I did the beginning and the mid-peak season, and then this is the last one, right? This is the end, alright? Unfortunately, the end came really freaking close, alright? So, last year, 2021, I worked a little bit past New Year's, all right? There's usually like an influx of packages that comes after Christmas, like returns and stuff, and then yeah, it just kind of dies down, right? So I'm not gonna lie, this year was pretty much like last year, except it ended earlier, all right? This year's peak season is really slow. This is the slowest peak season I've ever worked for UPS. And I've worked for UPS for 3 peak seasons, all right? 1 as a driver and 2 as a PVD, all right? I'll tell you this, when I was a driver, I got work every day, all right? They let me drive the big brown truck pretty much every day, okay? It was kind of fun, all right? It was hard work. That's what I want to say. Well, that's not the case with being a PVD, all right? So I'll kind of go... I'll kind of quickly go through the season. The first 2 weeks, I worked really hard. The first 2 weeks. That was like the very beginning of December. Right. This year I worked, I worked about a week earlier than last year. Right. I'd heard that in November they'd already started hiring, but I never got any kind of notice or anything. I couldn't apply or anything. I don't know why. I did get an email saying like, hey, you know, it's peak season, come on down, apply. but like that was like pretty much after I'd already applied, so I was like, whoa, what a coincidence. So I don't know the 411 on how to get the early job offer. Okay, is what I want to say. And this year was a lot different than last year, all right, for one. But hey, let's go talk about how the whole thing went, all right? So the first 2 weeks I worked really hard. I worked 4 days, and the one day I got like a lot of overtime. I worked pretty much until 10 or 11 in the evening, and it was piss and rain. All right, there's nothing worse than delivering packages in the rain, man. I'm telling you. Yeah, you can keep yourself dry for. You can only keep yourself dry for so long. That's what I want to say. All right, it just after that you're just miserable wet. All right. Okay, so yeah, the first week I was able to make, yeah, I'll go over how much I made every week, all right? So the first week I was able to make $15.90, all right? $15.90. The first week I worked 32.3 hours, all right? I think I only worked like 4 days that week because I started a little late, all right? Because that first week was the week I was like the orientation and all that, okay? And so it was, I made $15.90, all right, before taxes, and $12.02 after taxes, okay? So the next week I worked 38.84. I'm going to go through the first couple really fast, all right? I made $17.22, all right? And $12.76 after taxes, all right? So pretty good. The first 2 weeks was really good. I was like, "Oh, damn, I've already almost reached how much I made last year just in these 2 weeks alone." And that was the busiest, all right? That was the most I worked, all right? Yeah, so it was like a 4 and then 6 days the next week, all right? 38 hours, almost full time, almost. All right, and the funny thing is, like when they're hiring you, they'll tell you like, oh yeah, we're hiring you as a full-time employee. You didn't really get that, man. I don't get that feeling, is what I want to say, right? And I'll talk about like, you know, what I thought about the experience, all right, after I go over like how much I made, okay? Okay, so now we're past mid-peak, all right? So HadesOmeg's is after the second week, it slowed down a whole lot, all right? So it's pretty much every week my pay got cut in half. I'm not gonna lie, okay? So the third week I worked 15.68 hours, all right? And I took home, well, I didn't take home, but I made $700 $13.0608 after taxes, okay? And then the fourth week, I only worked 7.35 hours, so barely enough to make 1 day of full-time work. But I did get an overtime, all right, because I worked on Christmas Eve, all right. I made $359 before taxes and $319 after taxes, all right. So here's the total. I made $4,407, all right, $4,400 pretty much, the whole time, all right, before taxes. After taxes, I made $3,406, all right. So technically, I kind of almost made, pretty much I made it about as much as I made last year, all right? And I started earlier this year. So the sad thing is, it started earlier, but it ended earlier as well, all right? So this year's peak season was really, really slow, man. I've never seen it like this before. Last year was more busy than this, all right? But it was a lot different than last year. Okay, so yeah, total I worked 94 hours. Okay, also, if you're wondering about that. Okay. So I'm going to kind of go over the experience. So how is it getting work this year, right? Pretty much the same as last year, except they did use the text message system. They used the text message system a lot, like the first almost 3 weeks, all right? Last year, they didn't really use the text message system all that much, all right? And different centers do things differently, all right? So I was getting all the text from the San Jose center, but sometimes I would work at the Sunnyvale center, so... So that's one thing that was different than last year, was I worked at 2 different centers this time, all right? They were cool with it. And like, you kind of just go there, as long as you turn in your timesheet, you know, they can input your hours and stuff and say, you know, you worked and all that stuff, and you get paid. So that's one nice thing, because if this one center doesn't have work, maybe another center might, all right? And tell you this, the Sunnyvale center is a much bigger area that they cover, all right, much bigger area. And the only problem is, like, yeah, you're gonna have to drive a lot, and Sunnyvale's not near where I live. I live in San Jose, like not close to Sunnyvale. Okay. So yeah, I usually drive like twice as much if I drive for the Sunnyvale center. So but it's kind of refreshing to go different places, you know. So I'll say you get to see different things and meet different people. It's kind of nice sometimes. All right. Yeah, so how was it getting work? Yeah, so like I mentioned, I wait for a text till like 10:30, and then if I don't get anything at 10:30, maybe at like 10:40 or 45, I text them. All right, I text them through that UPS text system that you opt into at the beginning of the season. All right, and yeah, the way it works is they'll text you, and they say, hey, can you work today? And you say yes or no. You put yes, and they say contact this driver, and then you contact them, and then you meet them. All right. If they don't text you, what I do is I text them. All right, and then I wait. All right, like at 10:45, I wait maybe until like 12 or something. If they don't send a reply, all right, it's happened a lot. Okay, sometimes they don't check the text messages or something. I don't know, man. I will call them. All right, I'll call the center. And yeah, you know, I'm not gonna lie, all the contact numbers are kind of like messed up and stuff. I think maybe I should have talked to one of the managers and asked him, hey, can you give me all the contact info that I need, you know, because it's very important that you know who to call if you are ever in trouble, or you need to see if they need more work, or you return back, all right, that type of thing. And the phone number I got on the timesheet, all right, the one that the PVD ticket that you get every day that you have to turn in, the phone number was wrong. The phone number was for like the Morgan Hill Center, all right? That's the other center that's in San Jose, all right? And they also did say that you could work for Morgan Hill Center, so maybe I should have done that. I kind of refused them, but it's still in San Jose. It's not that far. I just want to say, yeah. So I had to ask for, hey, what's the phone number for the Almaden Center? And I guess there was like 2 numbers or something. I don't know. I seem to call the same person all the time. And then I had to figure out what the phone number was for the Sunnyvale Center. So if you need help, or you want to ask them if they got any work for you to do, then you could call them, all right? And I'll tell you this, like, sometimes you call and nothing. They don't pick up, all right? Nothing. Like you're just there twiddling your thumbs. Like let's say I'm done with my route, all right, and I want to call and see if there's more work. Well, I'm gonna go pull over somewhere and then call, all right, and then tell them, hey, I'm done with my work. Is there any more work? All right. Well, if I keep on calling and nobody answers, you know, I call, I text, you know, I try to get a hold of somebody, you know, and that was so hard this year, so hard. I'm telling you, sometimes they answer, sometimes they don't. All right, and the good thing is if they do answer, they can get you work right away. All right, if they don't answer, I wait 10 minutes, I call again, I wait another 10 minutes, I call again, and then hopefully I'll get something, and they'll either say no, go ahead and come back. Or, oh yeah, I got someone you can help, and you generally ask you, where are you right now, so they could find somebody close by that needs help, right? And I was able to get extra work. I don't know, maybe like a handful of times. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty busy the first 2 weeks, all right. But other than that, just after the first 2 weeks, it just went downhill from there. Okay. So yeah, let's go back to finding work. Okay. So if I call them and I'm actually able to get somebody, or they reply to me and they say, hey, sorry, we don't have work for you today, I ask them, do you think Sunnyvale will have work? Can I call them? And they're like, yeah, go ahead. So, and then I'll call the Sunnyvale Center and I'll ask them, and they'll like say yay or nay, you know, then you come in or what. Okay. So another thing about getting work is the phone, all right? So you have to have a phone or MDA to deliver the packages, right? Last year, I was able to use my smartphone for it, all right? And this year, I wasn't, all right? I heard some PVDs were using MDAs. They're using their phones as MDAs, so I don't know what happened, man. Like, I applied for it like twice, and I got nothing, all right? They wouldn't let me use my phone as an MDA. And that's really handy, because there was one day that they were all out of phones. All the phones were, you know, the PVDs took them all right, all with the drivers. So they couldn't give me one, so I couldn't work, right? Because my phone doesn't work with the MDA app, right? You need like a special permission. I have the app, but if I try to log in, it says, hey, you don't have the credentials. So last year it worked, and it worked great, you know. I actually prefer using my phone, to tell you the truth, unless it's raining, like I mentioned in the previous video. Okay. So yeah, if at all possible, talk to a manager at the beginning of the season, and have them hook you up with, it's called Bring Your Own Device, BYOD, and you fill out an application, and they actually pay you to use your phone. Maybe that's why they didn't want to pay me to use my phone. They must be really penny pinching this year at UPS, I guess. I don't know, man. And yeah, they wouldn't let me use my phone, right? And I tried twice. I sent 2 applications, but I never talked to anyone, so maybe next year I'll do that, okay? Because I do know that I've heard that some other drivers were using their own phones, all right? And that's convenient, especially if they don't have phones available. Or if you're going to meet a driver, you don't have to go to the warehouse, grab a freaking phone, and then drive to them. You can just drive straight to the driver and get to work right away, all right? So... but the good thing is, if you do go to the warehouse and you get the phone from there, you start at the warehouse, all right? Your miles and your time start at the warehouse, and then when you go meet the driver, that's, you know, they're all paying for that, all right? So it has its pluses and minuses, all right? But like, if you ask me, it's best to start early, all right? Because you don't want to be delivering packages late at night, all right? Especially past 8 o'clock, all right? You don't want to be delivering packages past 8 o'clock. I mean, I will for the money, man, but yeah, it just sucks delivering past 8 o'clock. And people are like, you know, who's this? You know, like, oh, it's UPS. I got a package for you. You need to sign it, you know, type of thing, all right? Oh, okay. And okay, regular work. I would say last year I think I worked with the driver, the same driver, for maybe a week, all right? And then they put me on with another driver for like maybe almost another week also. So, and then after a while, you get to know the drivers, you get to know the route, you know, and it becomes easy, okay? And then so this year, I did actually meet the driver I worked with last year, all right? I met him once, all right, and I took some stuff off of him, and that was it. And then I never saw him again, unfortunately. Boo. And then I worked with this other driver in Willow Glen for about a week. All right, and then he said he liked me and he requested me. All right, and so after the second week, I couldn't get any regular work. All right, I think I worked half as much the third week and then half as much the fourth week, and then that was it. All right, so like I mentioned, like pretty much my earnings halved every week. Okay, yeah. And then so the that driver, he actually requested me. He liked me. He liked working with me, and I liked working with him. So and I talked to him. I actually talked to him. When I was begging for work. All right, so pretty much after the second week, you know, after Black Friday, I had to beg for work every day. All right, I had to call them. All right, they never assigned me work anymore after that. Sucks, man, I'm telling you. And I don't know why. Maybe I got put on a shit list or something. I don't know, man. Like, oh, this guy's not taking his breaks or something, or blah blah blah, or this guy's, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know if I did anything bad or good. No one gave me any negative or positive counseling type of thing. They just kind of let you do whatever, you know. So a lie, man. Like, how do I know I'm doing bad if you guys don't tell me, you know, that type of thing, all right? Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know why they never assigned me work after the second week. All right. I had heard from other drivers that they attached them to a driver for long periods of time. They were able to get regular work, like the whole weeks and stuff. So yeah, I wasn't getting that, man. I had to beg for work, and I was working for different drivers and different centers, and oh yeah, it was a freaking nightmare, man. I don't like begging for work. All right, guys. I would rather, hey, you want to work? Yes or no? Yes. You know, talk to this guy. You know, that's so simple. You know, rather than like, you know, I gotta wake up in the morning. I'm waiting for the text message. Oh, I don't get a text message. I text them, and I have to go do the whole song and dance just to get some freaking work, man. And sometimes the work isn't enough. Sometimes you just work 4 hours, and then you go back because there's no more work. So was just really slow this season, or they hired like too many PVDs. All right, last season I think they hired too many PVDs. This season I think they hired too many PVDs. All right. Like I mentioned, I was working in the Almaden warehouse in San Jose, and like last year they had another building. They had a whole nother building. The whole operations at UPS changed in 1 year. Okay, they didn't have that other building. And I heard they gave like 40 routes to like Sunnyvale. So Sunnyvale is like freaking loaded. They got like so much work. And then San Jose, so I didn't know that, and I applied to San Jose. If I had known that Sunnyvale was getting more work, man, maybe I would just work for them, man. Same thing pretty much, you know. Yeah, so that just goes to show like how versatile you can be as a PVD, all right? Like once you learn how to use the MDA and deliver packages and all that stuff, and once you know how to, you know, where to go in the warehouse and who to talk to, where to return the packages, you know, every center does things differently, but once you get the swing of things, it becomes so easy. You can go anywhere and deliver packages, okay? But it's nice to be able to get like a regular route, or, you know, like just help one driver the whole time, because it's easy, you know, that way. You know where everything is, you know. And I did that for almost a week, all right? Yeah, so the thing is, I talked to that driver, and he said, you know, like, he asked, like, he wanted me and the other guy that was working with him, he had 2 BVDs attached to him, and he specifically requested that he work with us, because they gave him some new PVDs, and he didn't like them. Okay, they had like smaller vehicles, and you know, maybe they sucked at delivering or something. I'm telling you, man, some drivers, I didn't really run into other drivers this year, but last year I did, and I would just watch some of the drivers, and they'd just be working slow as balls, man. Like, you know, they had like no sense of urgency. All right, it's okay to work. Don't work too fast, but don't work too slow either, all right? Okay, they say like, yeah, you should be able to do like 15 deliveries in an hour, all right? But that depends on the route, man. Some routes you drive a lot, you know. Some routes you walk a lot, man. Like you stop one place and boom, 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 boom. You know, you do like 5 deliveries already. Holy crap. You know, some places are really condensed, all right, and some places are really tricky, like apartment complexes. So yeah, I only had one apartment complex route this year. Last year I had one on Christmas Day. Oh my God, it was so bad. It was like yeah, it took me a while to do that one, man. But it's just a lot of walking and delivering packages to apartments and stuff. I hate that, man. I'd rather just drive up to a house and deliver a package and then get back in, type of thing. Okay. Yeah, so that was it. Yeah, I think I worked 2 days, and then I worked another 2 days the last week. And then this week, this is the last week of December, and I didn't get any work, all right? So here's the story, okay? So the other day, I sent a text message. I asked every day, all right? So, okay, I'm not gonna lie. So this year was kind of extra bad, all right? Because Christmas fell on a Sunday. Yeah, Christmas was on a Sunday, and Christmas Eve was on a Saturday, all right? And the business holiday for Christmas was on Monday. So yeah, so I worked on Christmas Eve. That was the last day I worked, all right? Good thing I worked, because I got overtime because it was Christmas Eve, all right? That was cool. But I did a route on Christmas Eve, and it was like, I managed to squeeze out like 4 hours, man. I tried to you know, stretch it out as much as I could, but there just wasn't a lot of packages, and it was just, the route was super easy. And I called them, and they said, no, we don't need any more help. Come on back. I'm like, oh crap. Okay, so I had to come on back, and then that was it. All right, but I did get double time that day. I mean, I got overtime that day, double time, overtime, one of those, you know, like they paid me double type of thing. All right, and then that was it. That was the last I went to the center. So Sunday. Oh yeah, okay. And so another thing about the Saturday deliveries, we only deliver the Saturday deliveries. Saturday is usually the slow day. All right. I think you have to, like, there's a special delivery service that UPS does that's only on Saturdays. All right. It'll say on the package like SDS or something. That means it's they can deliver it on Saturday, or if not, they deliver it on Monday, I guess. Okay, and yeah, so that was it. And then Sunday, yeah. So we didn't get a lot of deliveries on Saturday because they were the Saturday deliveries. All right, but we still did. Last year, Christmas didn't fall on a Saturday, so it was just like a normal day, and I think that's the best to make a lot of money, because you'll have more packages to deliver because it's not a Saturday, right? So yeah, I got super screwed the last week of work, all right? And then so Sunday, all right, Sunday was Christmas, no work on Sunday. We don't work on Sunday, period, all right? And then Monday is the business holiday. I actually sent a text message asking if we got work on Monday, and no reply, all right? Because probably there's nobody freaking working there. I had to Google it. I should have asked the manager, hey, are we working on Monday? But yeah, I had to Google it. I'm like, oh, apparently UPS doesn't deliver on Monday because that's the business holiday for Christmas, all right? Because since Christmas fell on a Sunday, we get Monday off. So boom, all right, automatically no work on Monday. All right, Monday's a slow day. Okay. Tuesday, I text them, and they said, no, sorry, we don't have work today either. Actually, I didn't even text them. They saw the text from the day before, and they're like, no, sorry, we don't have work today either. So I was like, oh, okay. So I just went back to sleep, type of thing. I think I tried to call the Sunnyvale Center, no answer. All right, and then I think the next day, I think on Thursday or Friday or something, I don't know. I keep on texting every day, and they never answer. No work, you know, blah blah blah. And then they finally give me, peak season has ended, and then no more work. Like, oh shit. Well, thanks. You guys could have told me that, because I've been waiting for work like the whole week. I've been trying to get work the whole week. Well, apparently I looked at my time card, and we got laid off that week. Okay, we got laid off this week. We got laid off this week. All right. So the week after Christmas, we'd already gotten laid off. Right? It's because it says on the time card, laid off. Laid off. Usually it'll say scheduled off if you didn't work, or it'll have your hours, or it'll be like day off or something, like it was a Sunday or something, right? Or it'll say laid off. All right, so that's what it said the whole week: laid off, laid off, laid off, laid off. So I had heard that last year we were supposedly they're going to keep us until the 15th. All right, like I said, I got COVID, and so I couldn't work that much after New Year's. However, this year they cut us loose on Christmas, after Christmas. All right, I was like, oh damn it, come on. So all I want to say is, hey UPS, don't come crying to me if you guys need more help. So what am I say, man? Because you guys already fired us, man. You guys laid us off already. So there we go. That's my 2022 peak season PVD experience. All right, so that was I have the beginning, the middle, and the end. All right, so I'll tell you, it was great in the beginning, it was all right in the middle, and at the end it was just kind of just begging for work, man. I don't like that. All right, so what's HadesOmeg's gonna do now? Oh, I can go back and do DoorDash, and I might try Amazon Flex. All right, I kind of, if I could deliver packages whenever I want to, kind of like this, all right, but it doesn't pay as much, I'm thinking I'm not gonna try Amazon Flex. Like, I kind of do like delivering packages, all right, especially if it's steady work. I don't get steady work with DoorDash, man. DoorDash has kind of been shit lately in my area. All right, so all I'm gonna say is your experience may differ, all right, depending on your center and how much volume you have. All right, apparently this year seemed to be a pretty slow year. So I'm not gonna lie, man. This year is a pretty slow year. I've never seen a peak season like this. Like, all I can say is when I started working at peak season, when I worked peak season 5 years ago, all right, I did this 5 years ago as a driver. You know, I wore the UPS uniform and everything, you know, driving the brown trucks. It was so busy. Some days I would do 200 stops, 200 plus stops in a day. All right, that's a lot of stops, man. I'd say, man, I know I've done more than 100. All right, I've done maybe like 130. All right, 130 is a lot for a PVD. That means you're a busy PVD. If you do more than 100 stops, you're a busy PVD. You did a lot of work. All right. Some days freaking 30 stops. Some days 50 stops. All right. 100 days if you're really trucking, man. Like if you get a lot of work, 100 stops. All right, 100 stops, 150 packages. You know, that kind of thing. All right. So and that's pretty nuts. All right, I used to deliver for Golden State Overnight, doing pretty much the same thing. I using my own vehicle to deliver packages, but their route was not as condensed as UPS, man. All I can say. And like 50 stops would be like a whole day. All right, because you're just driving all over the place to deliver this stuff, man. It's not like, oh, you go down one block, 3 deliveries, turn around the corner, 2 more deliveries. Yeah, that's how condensed it is for UPS. Okay. Yeah, and so I'm kind of saddened that like it didn't seem as like organized as last year. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it didn't seem organized at all, man. And there was they had that other building. We couldn't drive into the building. You know, if I wanted to build my own route, you'd have to go to Sunnyvale to do that. Sunnyvale has like so much more space to drive vehicles in and, you know, load stuff up. They would have what I did last year in the San Jose warehouse, the San Jose center, is they would have these rental trucks with all these packages in it, all right, and that need to be delivered that the drivers couldn't deliver, and then you just pick whatever you can fit in your vehicle and you deliver it. All right, it would be in your best interest to deliver the small stuff. All right, okay. All right, so yeah, I kind of went through like a tips video already, so I'm not really gonna go with the tips, do the tips and all that stuff, but all I can say is start as early as possible. Okay, try to start as close as you can to Black Friday. All right, Black Friday is when everyone puts the order. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, the beginning of December. Right? You want to start as close to Black Friday as possible, and I managed to do it. All right, I'm not gonna lie, I probably could have started maybe like 2 days earlier. This year was way easier applying than last year, right? Last year we had to watch all these freaking videos and do training and stuff. This year they sent like a link, and then you watch all these really short condensed videos, all right? And then that's it. And then you go, and then the center calls you and they go like, hey, can you work? Like pretty much you get started right away. The sign up process was really quick this time, right? This year, I don't have the vest with me because I don't work for UPS. Well, it's in my car still. But this year I got a vest that fits me. All right, so make sure you get a vest that fits you. Last year I think I came a little late. Man, I'm telling you, they were hiring PVDs up until almost the last week still, man. Every time I go to the center, there's like new drivers there all the time, man. I'm like, what the hell, man? You guys are still hiring people? We're like more than halfway already. They keep on hiring people, so that means they can't find work for everybody, you know. So that's why I think they keep on hiring. They hire too many PVDs, and then, you know, I guess they don't want to get in that situation where they don't have enough PVDs, because like sometimes people can't work a certain day. You know, I can work every day, but some people can't. They got like children and stuff, you know. I gotta pick up I remember there's one PVD. Oh, I gotta go pick up my kids from school after I finish these deliveries, and then so I wound up getting some of her deliveries because she couldn't make it back in time. So I was like, well, sorry, man. I'm here to work, man. So yeah. So what I had heard is that if you show initiative, that like you want to work, and you show that you're like a badass PVD, all right, I can do like freaking like 200 stops in a day out of a vehicle, that type of thing. And if the drivers like you most likely will get work, all right. But I don't know what happened this year. I feel like I got put on some kind of shit list, and I was never able to get assigned work after the second week. They never called me up for work. Now the Sunnyvale warehouse called me for work one time. That was kind of weird, and I wasn't expecting it. So that just goes to show, like they just do whatever, man. It's not, I never, you know, like I don't normally answer my phone, you know. If I'm waiting for a text, that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the freaking text, right? So yeah, there was like no kind of consistency anywhere, all right. One of the supervisors at the Sunnyvale warehouse told me, yeah, go ahead and come in tomorrow. We'll have work for you. And sure enough, I didn't call, and I went in, like I mentioned in the last video. I came in, and they said, sorry, we don't have work for you. I'm like, oh shit, well, I came all the way out here for nothing. And I did DoorDash, and I DoorDashed home. So it happens. But yeah, just make sure you call before you come in. That way you won't run into that problem, right? It's better to call and they say no, and then you know. But like, I guess if you do just show up, it's like you're kind of like, you know, you're kind of forcing them to give you work. Because like, oh, he's here already, right? Or feel bad to turn him away. But yeah, they said nope, sorry, we got nothing for you to deliver, or we don't have no phones, you know, that type of thing. I'm just kind of sad that like I couldn't make any more money. All right, I made about as much as I did last year. I didn't work as long. It would have been nice if it was a little bit longer, but that's the nature. Well, that's the nature of the PVD job, guys. All right, the work that you do is dependent on the volume of packages. All right, if they get a lot of packages, if everybody's like ordering shit and having it shipped all over the place, you get more work. Okay, but if it's slow, then you don't get any work. All right, they don't got any work for you. So unfortunately, that's how it was this year. Okay. After the 2 weeks, yeah. So all I can say is, like, when you do get work, you better bust your ass. Okay. I was hoping to make about. My goal was to make 5,000 last year, and my goal was to make 5,000 this year at a minimum. And I think I barely achieved it. What did I get? Yeah, I got 4,400 before taxes. So that's I almost made it. Almost, man. If I could have got some work this week, would have been great. You know, anything, dude, anything. So yeah, it's kind of tough. So HadesOmega, do you want to do this again next year? You know what? I'm not so sure. Yeah, sure, I'll do it again next year, but I'll know what's up. So this year I'm planning to try Amazon Flex out. So that way it gives me more options. So hey, I have options for work, all right? Like, HadesOmega is a gig worker, all right? I just do these gig jobs, all right? I used to be an Uber driver. I still am an Uber driver, but I don't drive people anymore. I deliver DoorDash, food, and then I do this UPS. So I'm thinking to do Amazon Flex now. Okay, it doesn't pay as much, but it's pretty much the same thing. And I heard it's actually better than working at UPS. Their apps are better and stuff. Their system is newer than the UPS's system. All right. I heard from other drivers that like the way UPS does things are kind of inefficient. The inefficient thing is they give you a manifest, you know, and you got to take packages off the truck, and then like you can't fit everything in your vehicle, so you don't know if your package is in your car or not. All right, sometimes you go up to a house and you got 2 packages to deliver it, but you only have 1 in your vehicle. So I hate it when that happens, and you just have to say, oh, I don't have it, I can't deliver it. So we got to go back to the truck. We got to come back here again and deliver it later. That's a huge waste of time and a huge waste of gas. All right, so I'll say it's not efficient at all. All right, and I guess I don't know. I guess Amazon's not like that. I'm not sure. I might make a vlog about Amazon Flex. We'll see. Okay, but yeah. So if next year we do this again, I can do Amazon Flex if UPS is not busy. So they have other options to do. So, and you can be a PVD and do other things at the same time. All right. So work is optional. All right. Work is optional. All right. If they ask you, can you work or not, and you can't, just put no. All right. Or you just tell them like, hey, I can't work as long on this day, or I have to get this day off. All right. But it seems to be kind of like a one-way street, if you ask me. All right. When they need you, they'll use you, and then, you know, when you want to find work, that nothing. Okay. That's what it seems like to me. All right. Like I said, I think I gotta put on somebody's shit list or something. I don't know, man. But the center changed so dramatically over 1 year. That's all I want to say. Okay. In my area, I think there's 3 different centers. All right. There's San Jose, Fremont, and Sunnyvale. So maybe I want to try a different center out. All right. I kind of live in like the center of almost all of them. So the Sunnyvale's the longest one, but yeah. And yeah, I mean, work is work. So, but. Okay, so that so ends UPS PVD vlog 2022. It didn't end quite the way I wanted it to, but it started off pretty well. All right, but it was really tiring in the beginning. So I'll say, all right. Now I gotta go eat all those treats and stuff that I have left over for a thing. All right. Well, anyway, have a good Happy New Year's. All right. Best of luck in 2023. I'll see you in the 2023 PVD vlog. Let's speak out.